Hello there, everyone. Hope you're having a great evening. It's been quite a while since I've been live on Metaguild. And tonight it's gonna be for a very interesting reason. I'll be joined by Kartoha, which I'll be unmuting right now. Hey Kartoha, how are you doing?
Hello, Orchid. Yeah, nice to hear you. Hello, everyone in chat. Hey, guys. Today it's gonna be exciting introduction comment to you, and we prepared some questions. So we'll see how it goes.
Yes. So I've been pretty excited about this game because back in the first week of May, when actually I've got to talk personally with Karuto about this game, I was actually looking for another card game in the Web3 space that I was really able to grind on and get rewards from and be consistent at it. And he, of course, mentioned Cometh to me right away because he was starting to have a team of players that he was kind of forming and developing, and that was what you did for the better part of May. And currently, Kartoa, how many ship owners for Cometh do we have on Metaguild?
Yes, right now we have already 17 players playing Cometh, and we acquired a partnership with Cometh team. We bought 20 ships, and like we are really excited. We really like playing the game. But even before making the team, yeah, mostly I was playing the game alone, and I mean our alien from the Comets team one day showed up in our Discord, and actually we started paying attention to the game. We made the research. We tried the game, and I almost I can say that I spent 3 hours in my first playing session when it was like all cards available, and I was so excited. And actually, I saw the interest from other guys from Metaguild, the interest, and then yes, I was actually quite competitive in the fifth and sixth mission, climbing for high ranks. And in the last mission, it was development of the team, and right now we have a pretty strong, quite small but strong community of players who are really interested in the game, who are playing, and we got 2 places in top 8 this season.
Yeah,
also.
I saw. Yeah, there was just the announcement today. I saw from our Twitter account that 3 hours ago it was posted that we had 2 players in top 8 of the 6th mission, and that's basically, for those who are not familiar with it, the current state of esports for Cometh. So of course we're really proud of getting that result as in the first month that we actually develop our personal section for Cometh inside of Metaguild. And yeah, personally, I've been playing the game for this past week, I guess, something more maybe. And of course, it's been overwhelming at first because it's a really different game from many other card games that I experienced in the past. Of course, you know that me and Kartoa were former Hearthstone players. We played a lot of Skyweaver, and we're, of course, still exploring new card games in the Web3 space. We played Magic the Gathering and other traditional card games. So we're always kind of looking for a middle ground between our background of professional card players and the Web3 space. Because of course, strategy games and card games really do offer an easy way in for users to start collecting and getting rewards. It's really intuitive. Like, of course, if you played a card game in the past, you know that by playing and winning, you get cards, and those cards enable to play even to an even higher level and get more and more cards. So it's really natural and intuitive for us to look for this type of games in the Web3 space. And Cometh has been one of those games that really capture our attention. And of course, before we get into the actual AMA with Jerome, which is the CEO of the Cometh team, we're gonna first show you a little bit what Cometh is about, because of course in the chat there's gonna be a lot of our pilots, a lot of the players that are already involved in Cometh, but we're hoping that many more Metaguild members and even people outside of Metaguild get interested in Cometh and will be asking to join, and will be, of course, with every successful game that Metaguild actually has develops, we're always happy to improve our roster, improve our investments, and really show how the game is properly played and how to make a rewarding experience inside of those games. So I guess we could start by playing on my ship that I actually borrowed for the Metaguild Treasury. You were kind enough to show me about the game, and I was actually today I'm having a good run. I believe you can already see my screen. Yes. So every day I'll just be explaining the basics. I'm really good at that because I am a newbie, so I'll be really good at explaining the basics, and probably I'll be answering most of your questions. So Cometh is a card game where you have a base deck of yours, of course, but I was helped out by Display and Kartoa in order for me to have a better deck that I called Climb. And I actually modified the deck a little bit. You know, Kartoa, I found a pretty interesting card. I don't know if you see.
Yes, I see.
I found the Late Revenge, and since the deck is really mid-rangey, I figured it was a good card to put in. Was it right?
Yes, and there is actually like an ice block version in this card game. It's a secret. It costs 2 mana. You can find it, and it's like live your life in 1 HP.
Yeah.
And it is pretty cool in this combination. There is actually one competitive deck that does it. And if you combine this card with locked mechanic, which doubles your damage, it's even crazier. So yeah, it is pretty cool interaction.
Yeah, I feel like I should be playing something like that in order for me to be able to outrace my opponents when it comes to dealing the lethal damage. But yeah, probably you will be able to help me out fixing the deck a little bit, because it was... So I'll be describing briefly my experience in these past 5-6 days. So what you do with Cometh, you can play with your basic ship, which doesn't give you any rewards by playing and winning. But if you own a high rarity ship, you actually get to have this type of rewards, as you can see here. So I have rewards for 15 games a day, and then I can play freely just to learn more about the game and just to have fun. But right now I still have to get rewards from 4 of my 15 games. And,
yes, and there are like different ships, so all ships are NFTs, and like this is uncommon, so it's like second rarest option. Common ships, I guess, if I remember correctly, they have 4 games. You could receive rewards, and they are X1, so it's for timeless resources.
Nice. Do you think you want to modify my deck a little bit before we go in? I actually had to make some adjustments before playing, but I'm in a good spot right now. And also we have a lot of options with the new mode that offers you it's not exactly a mode, but just today they enabled the whole collection for you to be able to play.
And it's pretty exciting. I really miss these decks. Like before the last mission, before the 6th mission, there was a possibility to play with all the cards, and this was like the most exciting for me. And I kind of missed during the last months this experience. Really needed to implement deck building skills. All these tech cards. It was very cool, and I really hope that we'll see and we'll experience more of this kind of mod further. Or we just farm all the cards and play with full collections, right?
Yeah, I guess I'll be playing. For now, I'll just be playing with my basic deck, so I don't commit too many misplays, and I will show familiarity with the deck. Otherwise, it's going to be a little gruesome for me to be here making a demo gameplay and not knowing about my own deck. So I'll just queue the game up. And Wizardthought is asking if all the cards are available to everyone right now. Yes, but if I understand correctly, Kartoa, feel free to correct me. You cannot get rewards by playing with decks that contain cards that you don't own, right?
I'm not sure also about this because this was implemented just today.
Yeah,
I guess it makes sense.
Aware of it.
Yes. So, and I haven't tried it yet. So you can try yourself and see will you receive rewards. I'm pretty sure you won't. It does not make much sense. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, right now you can farm the resources with cards you have and climb some ranks. Or I mean, climbing is not really important because for the next season, if I understand correctly, remember will reset.
Yep.
But you still can have fun, build the deck you want.
Of
And
course.
actually win Ganzak and Milko in the ranked.
Okay. So I'll be lowering the volume a little bit. By the way, I'm loving the vibe. I'm loving this late 90s art style vibe. So, okay, we're into the game. So, first thing first, you want to develop your orbiter usually, even though I'm supposed to play pretty aggressive, since this is like a mid-range deck that wants to deal little damage to my opponent. But I would just play in mana efficiency and go for Tesma Lasers, Trapped Orbiter, and Protector. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And prioritizing arbiter seems pretty smart because once like they survive even one turn, they basically get you extra value. So right now it's 3 mana for 5. You gain a shield, and if it survives, you're like it's way more value from the card than any other card when arbiter survives.
Yes.
So sticking arbiters is pretty important in this game, and this also makes area of effects cards AoE really important to have too.
Yeah, by the way, I didn't mention it, but every turn you get your 7 mana back unless there's been modifiers for your mana, and you always get to draw your 5 cards. So you want to make the most out of every draw that you make, but you can always draw one more, but you're spending 1 mana in order to draw. So ideally, you want to be able to play in efficiency. So right here, what I would do is first test the opponent's secret with a one more thing. Yeah, and then I will want to gravitational quake it to remove it. And then with the mana left, I'll probably barrel roll. But let's see what happens if I play this.
Okay, yeah.
So it is a barrel roll to avoid my card. So I still have to remove it. So I go energy laser and then gravitational quake that deals damage to target equal to its power. And then I'll be removing that. And just to close out my turn, I'll be doing antimatter capsule to remove 2 energies. So you see my opponents drew 5, but it started with 5 energies instead of 7. And if you're concerned about finishing your cards really soon because of this mechanic, there's a catch. The discarded pile will get back to your deck once your deck is finished.
Yes, Wolfgang, you're doing a way greater job explaining the game mechanics.
I'm trying to.
I did to
it's
you.
Kind of fast-paced.
Yeah, and it's also this game has one mana cards are extremely good most of the time. So you actually most of the time want to prioritize playing 1 mana cards.
Yes.
It's like crazy how good they are.
So here I'm thinking that I almost want to try and take a risk and go Orbiter Restock, because if I find a cargo ship, I start dealing damage to the whole board. And it's not so good to go 7 mana and do weapon into the breach and deploy. So I feel like taking the risk. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with it. Yes,
okay. Oh, we were kind of lucky. But we got this.
Yeah,
yep.
This is pretty cool. Yeah, this is pretty cool. And it's like strange. Is it supposed to be ships supposed to be in this pool? Usually they're only
yeah, it's like the first time that I got it. Maybe, yeah.
Is this a bug or no?
It could be, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, we're definitely gonna play that to to remove the 5/5, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we'll deploy our own fighter.
Yes. I agree. And we have 1 mana left, but there is no. You could actually. Did you say that you could draw cards in this game by just paying 1 mana?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this is like, and also you get the cards once you play all your hands. So this mechanic is really what makes this game unique and really different from other card games. At least we played a lot of them, right?
Yes, we did. This is such a it's really different from any other card games that I played, because the high volume of cards that you get to draw, the high mana at your disposal, really looks more like a real-time puzzle game that you're playing against your opponent, where you have to dish out as much damage as possible before you actually give the priority back to him. So yeah, in a way, it's different from a card game. It's closer to a puzzle game where you try to express the most value out of your cards. in a race against yourself, almost, not against your opponent. But
yes,
yeah,
and you also like plan in long-term vision, right?
Yep.
Like you want to actually like see, okay, what I'm gonna do in 10 turns, and sometimes you make turns that good for like for your next game plan rather than just fixing the situation on the
Yeah.
board right now.
True. Yeah, I think we could be going 1, 3, 2, and then 1. And we should be fine. Yeah.
Yes.
We go full clear. We develop another orbiter. We prepare for next turn with a portable
How much
battery.
shield you already received from this orbiter?
Yeah, insane. Orbiter. Like probably 4 turns already. Yeah.
16 shields.
Probably, yeah. I mean, yeah, we do, because we start with 40 cards and we have 4 turns. Yeah, it sounds reasonable. 16 shields. And like many cards deal 4 to 6 damage to your opponent. So we're really getting a lot of value out of that shielder.
Yeah, the only issue is he played a card that when it removes the shield, it deals extra damage. So it was, yeah.
Okay, this is an interesting one, because actually with Richard III, I don't want to play it too soon, because otherwise I'm going to have to deal with the parasites. But I have a mini teamer to burn 1, so it might be good to all in and try to get some good damage going on.
Yeah, I agree. I jam Richard and mini Tyner, and also, yeah, there is no, we can actually draw a card
True.
right now, yes, just to remove this parasite potentially, right? And we still can play Mr. Freeze and Deploy Medic.
I guess so, yeah.
Not as important.
Of course, you don't lose the cards that you play, but as Cartoa was mentioning, you have to be aware that drawing costs you 1 mana. So you only do that if you're looking for options for specific solutions. Maybe you have no removals in your hand, and you know that you have to remove some important orbiters out of your enemy's army, and then that's a good spot to draw. But most times you just play and maximize what you have. Like for now, for example, I will never draw, because I already know that it's going to be 3 cards for 2 mana, and then I'm going to have to go 1 mana and finish off my curve of 7 mana. And I actually think I want to go Energy Laser to the face to enable my Into the Breach extra damage. So I will not use Intern Mechanic.
Yeah, can you explain once again how Into the Breach works for other people?
Into the Breach works that when the first part of Into the Breach breaks the shield, you enable the second part. So first you deal 5 damage. If with 5 damage you break the enemy shield, you deal 7 extra damage, so total of 12.
So the order is important to play.
Yes.
Energy Laser first, and then Enter the Breach.
Exactly. And I go double Secret, Energy Trap, and Trapped Orbiter.
Yep. And the game is already going for how much, like 6-7 minutes, and it's not gonna end soon. So you'll probably give like once more. You'll see your whole deck, and possibly even more. So at some point, game starts game. This game is pretty interesting because if players are playing like really competitive deck, there is a deck that could kill you like in 1 or 2 turns, and it's crazy. But if it's more like this, more balanced, where your decision matters and your card matters, while you're trying to collect and ascend your whole deck, it's kind of slower and more like your decisions matter a lot in this kind of gameplay.
Yeah, makes for really consistent deck building. You don't just YOLO your options that easily. Okay, this looks like a very good turn because we got with the weapon overload. And I guess that we should explain another mechanic. If you finish your hand, you draw a card for free. So I am trying to maximize my options and use the emptying of my hands to draw. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I think I will first enter mechanic, then I will weapon overload. This gives 2 more damage to each of my card that deals damage. I will laser to cleanly remove the 5/5. And now I just go everything to the face of my opponent. And by playing the mini timer, I will get 1 draw. It's a parasite. I burn it. I get 1 more draw. It's a parasite. I burn it. 1 more draw. 5 damage to the face. And unfortunately, I got a card for 2. So I will not be able to spend it. But this was a very good explosive turn. So that's pretty much what the deck revolves around. It's a very mid-range-ish deck that wants to finish the opponent off with good turns with the weapon overload at your disposal. And this is just one of the many archetypes that you can already build, of course. I've been playing against very controlish deck that play an orbiter that's called Athena. It shields the owner and deals piercing damage to the enemy. So there's not just this approach of slowly dealing damage to your opponent, but there's also many decks that revolve around infinite loops that go and checkmate you in 2 turns, as Kartoa was mentioning.
Yes, and actually there are some also interesting mechanics that are not really tried, like shield mechanic. There are cards that like makes damage based on your shield, and this is like not very popular. But I think once in a while you'll probably see these mechanics and these cards to play. And right now, as you know, the most interesting and like interesting to play, and I think one, if not the best, at least like tier 1 deck with Nana Boost. You basically it's 1 mana card that reduces all your hand by 1 mana cost, and you can actually do a lot of mana cheating in this game. You're
Of
like
course.
druids in Hearthstone. You can play like you see that on the left you see 7 mana, but you could have a turn that like of 20 mana, 30 mana, stuff like this.
Unfortunately, I've been experienced that from the other
Yes.
side of the board, though. It wasn't super fun to get comboed like crazy, but I mean, it happens. If you give enough space to your opponent, he will be able to collect the cards and combo you. Nerf Nano Boost, Adil is saying in the chat.
No, don't nerf it. It's pretty good when you play boss this kind of strategy, and like you're trying to kill each other. It's not good to be on one side of this play, but if it's from both sides, it's fine, I guess.
This is gonna be probably GG. Yeah, this is an insane turn damage wise. Yeah, I got him. This is like 12 damage only with a 2 mana card, and the shield breaker was for 7 plus 9, 16 damage. It was a pretty insane game. Cam freeze already. Sorry, sometimes my webcam does that. I don't know why. It shouldn't be doing that, but it does. And I have to switch to my scene.
That was a pretty good game, and you saw that actually you played versus a guy with a base deck, so you kind of had an advantage there. Yes, because of having this better cards, but also it's not. We saw some mistakes from the guy's side. Like he didn't spend all the mana available. He just sometimes break it. So it's like new player, and this is at some point will be fixed. It's already one of the main priorities of game developers to fix this matchmaking. And if I understand correctly, starting from the next season, it will be implemented. And it's pretty good to hear.
Yeah, we'll definitely be asking that to Jerome. It's one of my main concerns, to be honest. Of course, we want to make the games that we propose with Metaguild as accessible as possible and as immediately rewarding as possible, because we don't want people to be feeling overwhelmed, not only by the difficulty of the game, which is definitely a difficult game, but of course, we don't want them at a huge disadvantage. There's nothing more frustrating to start off a new game, a new journey, and being immediately at a huge disadvantage. And that's something that I'm really concerned about. We'll definitely be talking to Jerome about that. But for now, I guess we have one more time for one more game. Yes, we wanted to start involving Jerome at around 20 Central European time, so it's about time. I guess we can queue for one more. Okay, this is gonna be a nightmare. I think I know this guy, by the way. I think we got sniped.
It's the first time we see this guy, right?
Yes, the first time ever. Hi, Milko.
Yes, hello, Milko. How are you doing? Actually, yes. So in these situations, we could actually for example, QA game with a better deck. So right now, yes, he's playing for resources, but let's say you could, because of you have all open cards, you could actually beat him right now because
Let's go.
of yes, not with his deck though, right?
But we're gonna try anyway for the lulz.
Yes, okay, let's go.
So I think in this spot,
let's show. Yes,
yes,
let's just show his gameplay mostly.
yes,
What
exactly.
he's
Let him combo us to death. So yeah, unfortunately, I want to be aggressive. Usually, I do not immediately surrender in these spots.
Yeah, me too.
My goal is to try and see what gets me the closest to defeat them. So usually, high-rated player go for more control-ish approaches because they have access to more cards. And so my goal usually is to be really aggressive. So really find those options that allow me to be aggressive. I had a medic ship, but it was gonna do me no good. Like, it wasn't gonna be good for me. So I instead went for the Orbiter restock and went for wow.
What happened? What happened in one turn, right? You just lost 50 HP in one turn, and
that doesn't feel right. Yeah, that doesn't feel right. No. I mean, he must have cheated or something. I mean, this combo is pretty insane, though.
Yes, it is. Yes.
So the damage taken is doubled because he target locked. It was good. He first explored the secrets. I actually had the barrel roll, but he first sacrificed an energy laser in order for him to unlock the possibility of comboing me to death. So I guess he did play well.
At least we didn't have to spend much time with this game, right?
Yes, I guess. But I'm not giving up. Okay, I'm an honorable fighter.
Okay.
Now this is already doomed. Like, this is unfortunately,
Actually, having this kind of combos he had, like Nano Boost locked, double these 2 mana cards that gives 2 power, it's quite hard to ascend all this. So of course it's like part of being lucky, but at the same time, it is.
Yeah, I guess we got to experience a good curve from him. Like, outside of him having a superior deck for the moment, he really went for a good. I think he had a very high percentage of win with that specific hand in general. Or was that a normal hand that the deck is dealt frequently? I don't think so.
No, it's not normal. Yes, it's not normal, and because of, like, sometimes you could block opponent's turns by playing the 3 mana card that you're probably also aware. I don't remember the name. Like, it's time or something like this. Can you actually show it on the screen? 3 mana cards that increase the cost of cards of your opponent by 1 for the next turn.
I think I kind of know. Okay, I'll go to. It's a 3 mana card, right? You said.
Yeah. It's. Yeah, you won't need this. So basically, this card is playable in like, I guess, in every competitive deck because of Nano Boost. And let's say when you play this, it's really hard to make such combos. And you have this hand like once in. I don't know. You only have 2 locked cards, and you need like to have everything. So it's really hard to make this consistently. That's what I'm saying. And this card also makes it really hard. So I guess it's pretty. Let me just say, Gonzak, do you think this deck with locked is better than just a cycle deck with nano boosts and with lasers, 1 mana lasers that increase damage? Because I'm not sure about this. It's actually quite interesting.
I mean, usually when a game gets such consistent draws and you get to see a lot of your deck, it makes for an advantageous playstyle for control. But I guess that at the same time, consistency can also promote really aggressive strategies. But I don't know. I'm still learning.
And you actually mentioned this term control. I'd say there is no control decks in this game. There is only like combo. There's only combo decks.
Yes.
Like
Yes. That's what I meant. Yeah.
And and like actually what Kazakh said is like it's the advantage of this deck is you can beat anyone with this kind of combination, but your win percentage will be lower. So on the distance, it's not that consistent and as other deck. Also.
I guess it kind of reminds me of Face Hunter back in the Hearthstone days, or Mono-Red in Magic. So kind of a strategy that kind of ignores the type of opponent that he has, because it has a decent chance of high rolling everyone else. So I guess that's the type of playstyle I've been playing the most when I used to play competitively. After all, I mean, respectable players at the top level do not really care what they get defeated from. Like, they call them Mono-Red. Yes, I guess it's a good way to call that deck. I guess it's a pertinent name, but it's exactly 20 Central European time, so I guess that it's a good moment to call Jerome and allow him to talk us through what was put into this game, what's the idea behind it, what's the upcoming updates that the game was going to receive in the near future. Hopefully that will put even more lights onto this great game that currently we're really appreciating and investing in Metaguild. So allow me to text Jerome. We're ready.
Okay, and by the way, guys, you can feel free to ask your questions in chat. So we prepared some questions to Jerome, but once if we see that we are ready in the chat, if you have some interesting topic you want to raise or question, feel free to do it, and we'll implement it in our little script during this AMA. Yes.
So I'll be creating the group chat with Jerome. I'll be calling you in like a second. Hang on. I'll be right back. Okay, should immediately start off. Okay, me and you already.
What's up, folks?
Hey, Jerome. Nice to have you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we do hear you super well.
Okay, great.
Jerome. Yeah,
it was really awesome watching you guys play. I'm humbled and excited at the same time. You know, when you watch other people use your product in general, it's great. But when you watch them have fun and enjoying the game and commenting on the game, it's even a better feeling.
Nice. We're really happy about the game. Like, it's been, as I said, one of the main focuses of Kartoa during the past month, and it goes to show how he really appreciates the game, because we're not talking about someone that has no experience about card games. So we really wanted to briefly introduce ourselves, other than being, of course, members of Metaguild and really passionate about Cometh. We are former Hearthstone pro player.
Okay.
And personally, I've been competing in other card games too. I've been playing Magic the Gathering. I've been playing Legends of Runeterra. So we have a pretty wide background when it comes to card games and competitiveness of card games. And personally, I'm much more focused on casting and being a broadcaster myself right now, being a streamer and being a esports caster nowadays. So I'll leave the technical talk to Kartoa, which is much better than me, first of all, and it's still grinding a lot more than I do.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you so much, Volkat. I also want to a little bit introduce myself. So, I was a competitive Hearthstone player, professional, and I've for the last almost decade, I tried like almost every card game available. Like started from Magic the Gathering, like even last game. I don't know if you know, like game that when Ben Broad went work in Marvel game, card game. It's pretty cool. So I'm really, this is like my main genre. This is something that I'm really passionate about and really excited, and I'm always excited to try out what Web3 products try to how they could improve this genre and make it better than it was before.
Cool.
And yeah, and it would be great, Jerome, if you could introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, so my name is Jerome. I was a big gamer when I was young. I had my first Nintendo when I was 5, so in 1992. Played a lot, like really a lot. I ended up being a competitive Warcraft 3 player. Had an experience with Magic the Gathering as well. I was previously to this chat. I was sharing with Gonzaga a couple of pictures of cards that my cousin sent me because they were tidying an old room at my grandmother's place. So had a lot of fun with that. And I've been in the blockchain space for about 10 years now, as a gamer. The early stage of the early scene of the esports stage in France. We were winning motherboards and graphic cards, so it was always fun for me to build computers. So I started with some mining back in the Bitcoin days, mostly GPUs, so bad hardware investment until we switched to Ethereum and we had a GPU resistant or a GPU friendly consensus algorithm for the proof of work. I've been working in the blockchain space since 2016. I used to run the and manage the blockchain team at Ernst & Young 2016, and worked for Consensus for 3 years, where I was the director for the B2B activity. Worked a bit at Ledger, and started this company called Cometh. It's a blockchain gaming company. We do games, and this is our last game now in public beta. What you got really deep into is the gameplay, the mechanism, and how the game can be enjoyable and so on. That's wonderful to see in action. There is a lot of blockchain primitives that are happening under the hood, and as we are a team with a hardcore blockchain engineer, we love building up those elements. For us, it's super important to have a game that is enjoyable, that people can play and have fun playing with. But it's also showcasing what the blockchain can do into gaming, and we are also helping out non-blockchain studios, classic video game studio, on building up their own games. There are tons of things I'd like to chat about, but I'll leave you to it and let you ask questions and so on.
That was awesome,
happy to answer anything.
That was awesome. There, you did exactly what we were eventually gonna ask you about. Yeah, your background, what the studio is about, and that's definitely a common ground that you talked about, because same goes for Metaguild. Like the originary team that formed Metaguild, it's all former esports players that really wanted to see. And this will be something that Kartoa can elaborate further, because I'm fairly new actually to Metaguild. He's one of the OGs, but it's exactly that. Like it used to be an hardcore team of friends and former Hearthstone competitors, not just Hearthstone, that got together and was like, yeah, there's definitely room to empower hardcore gamers way more than it's actually being done. It's currently being done. And that's one of the things that really drives us to Web3 gaming, and finding those solutions to empower the users and to get a rewarding experience other than a really compelling, fun, and gaming experience in general. So that was really good to hear. Definitely happy that you went into deep with your background.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jerome. And I also want to mention that it's amazing how much of experience you have in this space, and we really, it's something that.
Oh, I didn't hear Kartoa anymore. Hopefully, it's just me, or your mic cut down.
I think his mic cut down, or maybe
yes, your mic. Hopefully, it's just the mic and not the connection. I'll be texting him to make sure.
For a long time.
Oh, Kartoa, I think you have really Kartoa, I think you're having internet issues. Your mic is cutting down a bit. Yep.
Okay.
I'll be texting you.
Okay. Do you hear me now?
It sounds good. It sounds good now. Yeah. Okay. It got cut into the middle.
I wanted to just thank you that it's your team is amazing. You're an amazing like your experience, and we are also we are also like have our core team, and our summoners of Metaguild is also crypto natives, and it's pretty exciting to work together in this space. Yeah. So if it's okay, I can start with my first question.
Sure.
So first of all, I'd like you to little bit tell why make a card game right now, and actually where did you get this idea, and how did you actually manage to make a fun card game?
So well, why a card game? Card games are definitely popular on the blockchain. There are stuff that can be done easily thanks to the basic card game mechanics. So when you look at what blockchain is good for gaming, it's good for connecting people at very large scale. Our first game was a proof of concept for how you can run a game entirely inside the blockchain. How you can run a game potentially without any front end, just having everything rely on the blockchain, no servers, no nothing. So you end up with thousands of players playing together at the same time on the same contracts in the same area in real time, but in a real discrete time, because the game just updates itself every block. It showed us possibilities and some possibilities about that, and we wanted to experience a game that feels more close to the standards that we have currently in the gaming space. So the shortcut to reach a full-fledged game was to focus on the battle aspect of it, the versus aspect of it, the versus play aspect of it. So we started to design game mechanics, and we ended up feeling like, okay, like the normal way forward is to use a card game first. And now when we looked at the possibility of building a card game, we challenged ourselves on what type of blockchain mechanism we could put into it. And we used the game and its premises as a reason to build interesting blockchain primitives. So we wanted to have a way to create crafting based on blockchain primitives like decentralized finance or classic lending protocols or classic crafting mechanism, or you delete two NFTs and you create a new NFT. So we wanted to really get deep into that, and the card game was also a good opportunity to do that. The crafting system creates a booster of cards, like you get a couple of cards in those boosters. The interesting part is that you actually deposit liquidity on decentralized exchanges by doing so. So it creates some dynamism in the recipes to create the cards, which we really liked. So we wanted to tackle this challenge because we knew it would have traction at other games, and it was a breakthrough in terms of engineering. So we wanted to focus on that. So it's quite a good reason to build a card game. Also, the card game had interesting engineering challenges in the matchmaking, in the rental system. It was a good reason to build a whole marketplace from scratch as well. So we had lots of reason to focus on the card game at first, and also it's a good way of onboarding non-crypto people into crypto, because if you follow we can talk about sorry for digressing, but we can talk about how hard the game is when you are a new player in terms of unrun difficulties and so on. But when we put the game, once you've connected yourself in the hands of young children, they know the drill. They know they have played Hearthstone, they have played similar games, and they immediately take it and start playing. So it was another reason to build a card game, and the last reason to build a card game was that we had lots of Hearthstone player in our team, lots of different card game player in our team, and we wanted to give it a go at. Okay, what about this? What about building that? And finally, the interesting part of it is that we get to create lots of visuals, lots of things that are related to the game. One thing that we lack right now at Cometh is a proper revealed lore, like a proper story about the game, a proper things about that, and so on. And the card game was also a very good initiative to just start building visuals and then applying some lore and applying some stories. And we are going to reveal a couple of good stories that have been built around simply the images of the game itself. So the inspirations were, of course, Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone. We love also Slay the Spire, and we tried to focus on having a game that would be usually between 2 and 6 minutes. That's the average lifespan of a game. What's happening in the backend is that we save a lot of things on the blockchain that we don't tell you about. Like we have our own rollup that stores stuff, and that we try to battle test on our own. So we try to really keep the game reasonably decentralized, or probably fair, probably decentralized, in order to at some point just let the players take over the game and handle the game themselves, handle the balancing, handle the voting on new cards and new mechanism, for example. That's the end goal target. But at the same time, the card game was like a really fun attempt, and has so many things that works with blockchain that we really liked building this out.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. It was an amazing answer, and I really appreciate that fact that you're trying to implement something new, which haven't been implemented. It's something that we rarely see in other projects, which are trying to more of repeat than explore and create something new.
I'll be really brief in my brief consideration, because I don't want to go too long. I know for a fact that me and Cartoa would be holding you hostage for hours if we got the chance to. So
we can do another ME at some point.
Sure, we can, absolutely, yeah. But for now, just my quick brief consideration is that as a card gamer, it feels so right to be having this type of models where you actually own your cards, where you're free to do whatever you want with those cards, where your rewards are tangible, and it's just reasonable. It's always been reasonable, but we never got the chance to have games like this. So it's much appreciated for the community of card gamers, definitely, and we're so happy that card game genre is being the pioneer in a way for most of the Web3 gaming that's occurring right now.
Yeah, and I mean, we try to build something that's definitely fair. So the business model of the game is based on the secondary market. So if the cards are good and well distributed, if there are multiple archetypes, so it's really a way of aligning incentives, right?
Yeah.
As a gamer, you want to have a game that is balanced, where you have different options to play at different level of skills. And the reward that you get in terms of fun, like the fun aspect of it, the challenging aspect of it, should be aligned with the financial objective of the game.
Yes.
So we are in a position as a company where we have some clients in the B2B space, some studios that work with us, and they look at what we build and inspire themselves from that. So we are trying to align our incentives with the incentives of the players, and we think that being only taking royalties on the secondary market, and we take 5% on every sales of card. But the only way to build new cards is to play the game. So you play the game, you win, you craft a card. If the card is good, someone will want to buy it. So that's all right. You get your share as a player, and we get our share as game developers. And now, in order to create more incentives to play the game, in order to create challenges, we organize tournaments. Well, those tournaments, the money has to come from somewhere. And it's going to come from decentralized finance products that want to be showcased in our game, or from partners that want to benefit from our exposure from our players. So we spend a lot of time trying to build up economics that are resilient and not only rely on the fact that more and more players are going to come and buy the decks or the cards of the next players. So that's the focus right now, because I think we've seen a lot of hiccups in the play to earn narrative.
Yeah.
We position ourselves as play to own. So you play, you own the card, and you have a good experience. Arguably, right now the game is in a state that only hardcore player can really thrive in the game, because you end up playing against Gonzaga or Milku or the top players, and there are some Metaguild players in the top 20s and top 100, and those guys are really grinding the game or really making sure that they have an optimized deck. So the way the matchmaking works since today, or the accessibility of the cards works since today, was kind of challenging for new players to join, and that's why we are not heavily investing right now in player acquisition or promoting the game on multiple things. Like, we like to talk to guilds that have experienced players that want really to challenge the games, because those are the players that are going to help us have a balanced game and good ways of playing and good archetypes. Currently, I've said we have four or five really good archetypes in the game, and one that has been really dominating in the last tournament. So this is the approach that we want to have, like those phases of going live, letting people grind, letting people experience the economy, and then slowing down but opening up the decks so we get more balancing. And meanwhile, we organize tournament to have incentive for people to create new archetypes. We see what is happening. We will introduce like new matchmaking in the coming weeks. We will introduce a lot of new cards also in the coming weeks. So we want to make sure that we get this right, and we don't create new cards that get bought and then heavily nerfed. like people were saying someone was saying in the chat, like nerf Nano Boost. It's arguably the best card of the game. We don't really like the nerf approach. We like to create alternative approach. So creating a card that is really good against Nano Boost. Like you shouldn't play Nano Boost if the guy has this in his deck, for example. Like creating those ideas. It's a much more fair way of creating new cards and creating new mechanism. So we like to take this approach, and once we will consider the game out of beta, we will let the players vote on some nerfing that will certainly needs to be done at some point. Since the cards are being traded from player to player, we think it's right for the players to have a say on Cockroach is just too good of a card. I shouldn't play Cockroach. Okay, how do we fix Cockroach? Like that's the right approach. To make a really red carpet for the guilds, we are going to test out in the wild the rental system. It's being audited at the moment, and so far so good. The audit is good, so we will feel good enough for production now. And it's going to really help new players get into the game, and also guild on-ramp new players into the game. And I'm really glad to be partnering with you folks for this kind of testing.
And I guess first thing first, I want to say you must have been doing a lot of these AMAs. And second thing is you must be coming from the future, because you actually answered most of our questions here. I will leave my partner Cortua to actually make you a couple questions, but actually one of our main concerns was, of course, about the economy, about the play to earn not being as much sustainable as we previously thought in the first steps of this Web3 gaming thing. So yeah, I guess we really agree with you in a way.
I don't. Well, the initial when people ask when people say Bitcoin is the first internet native currency, I don't think it is. I think it's the gold of World of Warcraft. And the reason why the gold of World of Warcraft became a currency is because you had gold farms in Asia, in other region of the world, that was just playing World of Warcraft just for the sake of getting gold and selling those golds on eBay. You had two classes of players. You had the players that were just grinding resources, so that the players that were here for the content are going to have a smoother way or are going to enjoy the content faster. So when you look at World of Warcraft as an example of metaverse, as an example of game with earning experience and with fun experience, you have the fun experience on the right hand, and you have the earning experience on the left hand. And all the players had to pay for a subscription, sometimes abuse the subscription mechanism to get an easier way. And you couldn't sell your level 60 character because it would be against the objective of Blizzard to milk you until the end of your subscription. So you had Blizzard in the middle, creating more and more content, creating more and more channels, doing results, doing things, so that the players that were willing to pay the most will first take a subscription, then realize that they were being slow at the game, and the new content was not being published fast enough, or there was like level barrier that forced you to just grind to get there, and then or buy. It's completely messed up. Like and having the creation of those two classes of players, and trying the first class of players to be paying on the second class of players to really have an enjoyable thing, it's just wrong. It's just plain wrong. You're not going to have something healthy, and you're always going to be on the verge, and never going to have a game that just live by itself and have good content creation for itself. So we really don't want to get into that trap, and a way of avoiding that trap for us is just go the other way around. Like we're not selling the cards, we're making you deposit on liquidity on dexes, so you can get back a portion of your card. We are going to introduce boosters based on all the deposits on other DeFi products. So it's like advertisement inside the game, but in a way that you get to discover those DeFi products if you want to have a card this way. You can always grind a card to get back your deposits. So good. If you get a really good card, you can sell it to someone else. That's great. and the DeFi products are paying us for making that kind of advertisement. Well, this advertisement is rewarding tournaments, so maybe more players are going to be willing to play competitively. If we manage to do a really good game that people really enjoy watching, that is streamable, that is enjoyable in the streaming community, then eventually people will come with sponsors, and we have more content creation, more things around. So that's for us a good way of producing the game. If we're successful, that's awesome, and everybody that has a spaceship or a card will be super rewarded for that. If we are not successful, I guess we tried really hard, and we have good primitives that we can expose elsewhere. And the next game with the spaceships is going to be even more awesome because we will build with the experience of that previous one.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, and it sounds like I completely agree with this fact that this model of sustainability, yes, it should come from great game, from a desire of people. Like people should be able to cooperate to actually like solve problems that the game has, and we have a desire to play the game, to put your hours in it, and not just to make money, but just to enjoy the game, try to compete, and actually like stream the game. It's this community is really big, and it's what drives the game a lot. If we look at Hearthstone, it already had this Twitter community almost from the start, and this community was really big, and it was really passionate about the game.
Yeah,
and this is what moved the game forward mostly.
See, here's another example. Like we want to go up to 300 cards on this first edition of cards before we consider the game like having enough legs, having enough potential archetypes, and so on. Of course, we are going to organize some tournaments and let players enjoy different form of games. Like we are thinking about the equivalent of booster drafts, but inside Cometh, for example. We're thinking about a different form of gameplay where you play the base deck plus something around. The open library mode, where you have all the cards are sampled for building any decks, is a good way for us to do heavy balancing, but it should be an independent mode for people to test against each other. Well, that's cool. Let's continue building on top of this. And of course, after a couple of months, once this whole library of first edition card is released, we should think about having a new collection of cards with new mechanism, with new way of playing, with new content to enjoy as a player. Well, what happened with the previous one? Should we say like everything is banned and then you need to start over on zero? Well, good thing is we have a crafting system and a grinding system. So when we will introduce a new set of cards, we will create compatibility in the crafting system with the different cards. So if you want to grind all the cards that you've collected from before and create new cards, well, that should be an option. Like you've committed lots of time and resources and effort on the previous game, on the previous edition. So let's move to the next one. We will probably also adapt our tournaments to the same approach as that Magic has with rolling blocks. Like you have the type 2 with 2 blocks,
Yes.
the type 2.5 with only 1 block.
The rotations, I think they call them. Yeah. The standard rotation and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the right approach. I think it's too ambitious to consider that we will ever be able to run a type 1 that's completely balanced. Like let's say Drop the Mask becomes a complete spoiler and everybody wants to have this card. We will not print this card again and everybody wants to have a Drop the Mask. Well, there is no way that Drop the Mask is going to be played by every players. So when we will have maybe 10 blocks of cards, we will never have the time to really have a complete balanced way of doing that. But I think it's still super fun to have once or twice a year a competition where you should enjoy all the cards that have been printed everywhere, but continuously create new content, create new ways of onboarding new players, and letting the players from the previous sets to grind and pass to the next one. In the ways the cards are created, you mix resources. So we'll probably introduce new resources to create a tax at the next one. Like you wouldn't get as many cards from one deck to the other, but also open the cards that they should be still available. We think it's a nice way to create not artificial, but natural floor prices. So let's say a booster from the edition Genesis, it needs tungsten. Maybe we don't use tungsten in the next edition. So the tungsten will become the rare resource. And if you want to continue creating Genesis edition cards, you should get tungsten from someone else, or you should grind cards from the Genesis edition to get the tungsten, so you can eventually craft more Genesis edition cards.
Makes sense, yeah.
So there's interesting model on that that we are going to explore. We're going to run some simulation and see where it goes. And if it's fun, it's super fun. And if it's not fun, well, let's ditch that. But the grinding system is, I think, really nice for the tradability of the cards, because you can still get the resource back, and it creates a natural floor price.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think it makes lots of sense to actually this grinding system. It's something that we didn't see. Like for example, if we like look at Scavenger, they just like you kind of need an entrance, and you can get these gold cards by playing like by winning games. And this is like a more your approach is more detailed, and yeah, it could work better on distance, I think.
So it's one thing that is really troubling us is that to think about the proper onboarding for non-crypto people and non-pro players. So we are investing some effort on making sure that we have a game that is usable for a non-crypto individual. Like you get to actually have an enjoyable on-ramp. We are looking at producing a free-to-play experience, like a complete free-to-play experience, completely off-chain experience, so that people can get accustomed to how the game works, to how the things works. If they are willing to spend some resources or some real money on buying some cards, on buying some add-ons on the game, at some point we will tell them like, hey, you had the full story. Like, do you want to convert everything into NFTs and join the NFT space? So hey, here we go. Like now you are an experience. It's like doing the whole campaign on Warcraft 3. And at the end of the campaign, we're like, okay, now you're really good. So here's a lot of skins and a lot of things that you have unlocked in the off-chain game. You get them on-chain now, and go play with the older boys. We have good stuff to believe in the blockchain space. We're constantly
that sounds amazing.
This on-ramp.
Yeah, this sounds amazing. This kind of experience, and this is like something that that haven't been implemented yet in any game we know, and it's like crazy how it's not there yet, but it makes a lot of sense. So we can move further. We know that you're focusing a lot of improvement of matchmaking and new features like rental mechanism and new game modes and tournaments. So are these your main priorities right now? What else can you share with us? Like what directions are you heading?
So our focus is now to put the game in a stage where we can really start to onboard new players. Like we have a whole marketing plan that is really heavy and ambitious. We recruited recently the former CMO for Xbox Live in Europe. We recruited a couple of people also from the marketing and esports scene. We really want to give this game the chance that it deserves in terms of reaching a critical mass of players. We right now had 3.5k players playing in the first months. It was a live test for us in a mainnet situation to also see how our own infrastructure was resilient, how we can improve on that. So in the next 6 weeks, we want to have an heavy sprint, introducing a lot of new features at once. It's going to break things, it's going to slow down things, it's going to require some heavy fixing here and there. So that's why we put the rewards in pause and open the books again and start to organize tournaments that will be much shorter, just to make sure that we battle test now the game and its onboarding. We battle test also the matchmaking, and we make sure that we have something that is good to activate at a larger scale of players. So end of mid-July, we are going to resume the game as you've experienced it in the beta phase of early May, with much more cards, with much more challenges, and also with a matchmaking that is much better for the new players. Like the worst thing is like you are an experienced trading card game player. You just join the thing, you buy nothing, you get nothing. It's completely free to play. You take the base deck, you click on play, and then you fight the top 2 or top 3 players. You get a beating, and you're like, okay, what the heck is this? So we don't want the kind of experience. We want to have something much smoother. And once it's there, we make sure that we have not 3.5k players, but more 35k players, and then 70k players, and then 200k players, and then if we manage to reach 200k players in the crypto community, that would be a huge win, considering that the market for just the crypto community is maybe 30 million to 50 million people. And if we are really good at this game has a chance to reach the core Hearthstone players, the core Magic the Gathering players, and that will be our next target for.
Yeah, this is a pretty yes, ambitious plan, and I'm sure you. Yes, I sure you. If there is a team that's able to do it, it's it's yours. And
thanks a lot.
What so you mentioned the tournaments that you're planning to make this system, and you already experimented with it with different kind of approaches. So right now there is like a ladder grind, so you get the results, you get the rewards based on a place where you ended up on the season. And what's like your approach for the furthers this kind of competitive element on the side, and do you actually consider these tournaments and competition to be the main like engine for the game to develop, not just farming, but trying to compete?
Competition is the best way forward, we think, and also having a system for the players to organize competition within each other. So a tournament mode that you can create yourself. When I was playing a lot of Magic the Gathering, there used to be a beautiful shop in Paris called Hostelen, with it was like a gymnasium where you had 40 tables where you can just sit and have fun. And at any point of the day, you could talk to people and say like, hey, you want to do a booster draft? You want to do a booster draft? And when you had 8 players to do a booster draft, you just register yourself and you played for a ranked game in these booster draft things. And it was just 8 people coming together and paying €15 and starting to do booster draft together. That's the kind of experience that we think is going to be extremely successful in trading card games on chain. So we are trying to figure out a way to do that properly on the blockchain. So you will be on the Metaguild Discord, on the Cometh Discord, and be like, hey, anybody wants to join a booster draft? Like, join the booster draft here. And you see pending booster draft that are waiting for another player to join. And then like it's an ongoing tournament. So that's definitely the right approach. And things that have been done in the off-chain community in classic trading card games have been very successful in this aspect. So we want to see how this can be blockchainized and properly organized on the side. So that's the way to go for us. And having a competitive scene that stays challenged, that stay because they are having fun, is, I think it's the hardest scene to really convince to play the game. And so if we manage to get those hardcore gamers to play and have fun with us, it's a signal that we are going to be able to reach a much larger community. So that's our focus. Yes.
That's a good. That's actually a good segue to your next question, Kartoab. You're mentioning to me about how you see the community as an important vector of your success and affecting the hardcore community as some sort of a threshold of your effort in the competitive direction. So it comes natural to think, what are your expectations and what the community or the guilds are supposed to do in order to help grow the game as much as possible. So what are you seeking in the community and the guilds as a partner right now?
So we think the community, we think the guild is the right way to build the community from ground up. But you have to create an environment that is friendly for the you have to create a way for the guild to play their role of onboarding new players and creating content for your game and their own community. It's definitely a challenge. There is a lot of things that can go wrong along the way, and some tools that need to be put in place. Hence why we are focusing so much on having the very best rental system. And we haven't been able to really and reveal everything about this rental system, but we've been building it with YGG and Blackpool to make sure that we have really a good thing for the guild to really jump in. For us as a company, before us as a community, it's extremely hard to really keep a community entitled, growing, having fun, and so on. It's a full-time job being a community manager, a community organizer, and community like having fun with the community and being super active with the community. We think this is the job of the guilds to do. We are giving them a playground and a content ground to have a lot of fun and to have a lot of competition. So of course there is activity on our Discord, but the core activity is always going to happen on the guilds and so on. So we believe in attribution of the right task to the right people. So we focus on building something that the guild is going to really enjoy. And our dream is at some point, Metaguild wants to do a spaceship collection with us and have their own Metaguild spaceships. So we say, okay, let's go, guys. Let's do a Metaguild spaceships, because you want to be showcased in the next big events that will happen on the stage in a big stadium with lots of people watching and so on. And the top players will be playing Metaguild spaceships. That's the kind of end goal for us, that the best spaceships, the best things, the best assets of the game that really look good on the screen. They want to be played by the best players of the best guilds. We kind of think about the future of the esports scene being similar to motorsport, where you have really beautiful cars with lots of sponsors on top of them, with guilds that have nurtured really good players in the early on, and then they switch to another guild, they switch to another game, they switch to another thing, but they still linked to those links and the people that have helped us, have them grow when they were young players and so on. The streamability and the enjoyment of watching games is still super strong, and it's going to continue to grow. I'm still watching some games of Warcraft 3 when I have some time to spare. I really still enjoy this, and I feel like we can really build games like this alongside with guilds and alongside with a community of players that stays entitled and so on. Now, when we think about the community of our spaceship owners, we're talking about something around 1,000 people. Those are our early supporters, our heaviest testers, and our most beloved partners. So we're glad that now guilds are making acquisition of a bunch of spaceships, because they want to have their own roosters and their own things. We are starting to create experiences for our players, and we are going to start to reveal that in the next conference in Paris, ETHCC, where we want to start really involving them much more in our universe, in what we build, in what we decide, in what we do. In the early days of Cometh, I was saying, like, my end goal for a spaceship is to be as desirable as a PlayStation 5. Like, it's something like, you have this spaceship, now you get to have the premium experience on every Cometh game. You get to be involved with everything that we build. There is a tower defense coming up. The spaceships are going to play a good role in this. There is games that Cometh is going to help build, while the spaceship is going to have a role there. But the games themselves has to be free to play or accessible for someone with no spaceship. So rent your spaceship if you would like. But if you want to showcase and flex that you have a big spaceship, go play those games. It's fun. We don't try to create more spaceships than needed. Always try to have this 3 players or 2 players for one spaceship ratio. and we have no plans of emitting much more in the coming months. We just want to continue to create a heavy and healthy heavy group of collectors and players that enjoy the approach that we have of building games that are running on chain and creating the future of gaming. Our vision for the gaming space is that this blockchain thing is going to have and as big of an impact as 3D and networking had on the games that we know, and we are focusing on building that. And the spaceships are just assets that reflect this commitment.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, Jerome. And I wanted to mention also that yes, our vision as a guild is pretty similar with what you're talking about, and I really am excited to have this kind of partnerships and this kind of approach where the best guilds will have the best shields, we will have the best players. That's something at least we want to have. We want this is like yes, where
Hey,
we want
there is
to
no
be.
Metaguild NFTs, by the way, yet. Like
No.
there is not a POAP or something that people can chill when they have NFTs in their wallet when playing the game.
Not yet.
Okay.
But yes, we have lots of
Well, to
NFTs
be fair,
on our own.
To be fair, Jerome, this is one of the first games I have, actually the first game that I ever touched that allows you to showcase your NFTs while playing. So you kind of caught us with surprise there. So we'll definitely be working on one.
Well, you need one just to show that you're part of the team. Like the
Makes sense,
the
makes
YGG
sense.
guild is really chilling that they are part of YGG when playing. So
You're right.
guild wars will be good for our game and in the entertainment of the players. So we're definitely keen on pushing that. And as a matter of fact, it was developing an API that fetch every metadata on your wallets, on the NFTs of your wallet, was kind of a big challenge for us. It's something that we build for us and we build also for partners. So we wanted to have utility of that. And since we are not ready to build a chat box quite yet, we're going to just let people taunt each other with NFTs. So putting that back into the context of you're playing an epic galactic battle against someone, you're not going to open the window and shout at the other ones like, "Hey, I hate your nano boost." No, in space it won't work. but you can definitely imagine that as a pilot you are putting in your front window like, "Hey, here's my crypto dig bot saying I hate you for playing nano boost."
Yeah, it's way funnier than having the chat, right? Having chat is boring. Every game has a chat, and
Yes.
not every game. Like it's the
No
first
chat,
game that
no chat, too complicated. No chat on blockchain is too bad.
you have to communicate through NFTs, right? It's a challenge for players.
It's the Cometh Metaverse experience. You communicate with NFTs.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And I also want to prolong this question about communities. So you already mentioned that at some point, yes, you want to give more power to community, more power to decide about like card balancing, about decisions to the game. What's your plan? How are you going to do it?
So right after we have finalized the first edition of the games, we want to organize regular community calls just to explain and organize on how the DAO and balancing aspect of it should run. The main problem we think will appear is about balancing. So before we do any type of fixes or changes in the card that do have a market price since they are traded between players, we want to make sure that the players have been involved in those decisions. If you heard about this anecdote that Vitalik is often telling about his warlord being nerfed or whatever in World of Warcraft, we want to avoid that. We want to make sure that the players are actually participating to those debates. Maybe we have players saying like, okay, no, don't nerf nano boost, but just boost this card instead, or don't do this instead. We want to hear what they have to say, hear the debates, and then vote on the changes that needs to be done. right after this, we are going to continue creating content for Cometh Battle for a long time. Probably partner with other studios to handle the crowd creation once the core of the gameplay is in place and the base things are in place. We're going to focus on creating new games that also use the blockchain as a medium. Procedural generations is something that we really like and really want to explore in. The vision that we described in the white paper of Cometh Beyond is going to continue being developed, and we want to involve the community in the prioritization of where we should head. So classic voting system like Aave or Makers is going to be what's going to be the most certain way forward for us.
Okay, sounds amazing. And so I guess we have the last question, and it's about botting. So I'm really interested about this part of the game. Maybe you can share, like, have you already faced some problems with this, and how is your approach to this? How you're gonna manage to actually fight against bots? Are you going to fight against them? And what's your perception on this topic?
Yeah, we definitely have this in mind. There are different forms of abuse of the reward system of the game. The most natural way forward is to put stake in the game, like having the players play for something at stake, so they avoid being free losing or creating multiple accounts. NFTs is a good way of making sure that people are actually involved in the game. Like if you bought like this jumper for 380 Matic, you've proved that you're a player because like you spent 380 Matic to play. So that's one way of doing that. We want to make sure that there are different form of play where there is strong verification and strongly making sure that the players in front of you is not a bot but someone else. Creating an AI that plays against players that we think are bots is a natural way forward. Like if you are not playing, you are actually playing against the bots. If the bots are playing against each other and not winning anything, well, that's great. That's not threatening the economy of the game at all. We tried different way of inputting captchas and verifications that happening in the background when you are playing. It's not ideal. Quick time events on screen is also something that can be implemented, but we go beyond what the blockchain can verify. We will have something implemented in next matchmaking. It's impossible to completely avoid bots, but it's completely possible to make sure that they have little to no disturbance on the real players, and that's the philosophy that we have. Creating a playground where bots are systematically playing against each other, where they are having no fun playing against each other, and eventually the fun will remain on the players. So there will be an MAA with the developers in our Discord in the coming weeks, where they will describe the approach more in details. So if you'd like to know more, just join our Discord.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a really important part of the discussion around Web3 gaming personally, and I'm sure Courtois has plenty of examples too. It's not so much about having your gaming experience hindered by the presence of bots, but having the reward system kind of getting hacked by the bots. So once you already have such a reasonable and clearly educated look over this aspect of the game, I already feel much safer and appreciative of your work, because it's definitely something that ends up hindering the rewarding system. Yeah. And for many players also the fun part kind of disappears the moment you're realizing you're facing bots that makes cards fly in your face, especially with what you did with the mechanics of the game. Like I was surprised at the beginning when I first played of how smooth the sequence of cards played is. So imagine a bot managing to play the cards in like 2 milliseconds, that every card flashes before your eyes and the turn is over. So yeah, I guess in a game like Cometh, it will end up hindering also the fun aspect of the game too. Yeah, that's
right. So I think everybody is struggling with botting problem. It shows how much of a problem it is, and in an economy where the rewards come from the players trading with each other.
Yes.
Like we cannot let bots just create a lot and lots of cards and hindering the economy of the game because they are just creating too many cards. There are ways of fighting against that by moving on to our own roll-up, and that will be the ultimate goal to make sure that there's nothing like this happening. Right now, if you are a bot creating a 400 account and trying to grind something around this, you will need to send to every of your 400 accounts a little bit of Matic, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We can also whitelist, we can also do different things. It's an endless fight, but we think that in the next couple of weeks we are going to create the proper moat to remove the bots, or at least to keep them together behind the moat and just enjoying the game, fighting against each other. And one of the way forward is of course to have an AI that play against both naturally. But more on that later.
Like Dante's Inferno round where when they end up paying for their sins by playing against each other for the eternity without getting anything in return. That would be romantic as an idea. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we went through all the questions that we had, and you've been an amazing sport, Jerome. Actually, you actually anticipated most of our questions, going even deeper than we would have imagined. So we're all really thankful for your participation in this AMA, and we definitely will be forwarding your invite to our community for the upcoming AMAs that you're going to have on the Cometh Discord. I mean, after all, Cometh has definitely entered the area of interest of a lot of our members, and it's definitely one of the games and projects that we'll be watching closely in the upcoming months. So I guess we can wrap this up. Thank you so much for staying with us, Jerome. Is there any I mean, I will definitely link the Discord. I'll be sending in the transmitter. That's the channel that we have on Metaguild. We'll be forwarding the info for another AMA soon. But if there's anything else you want to point our audience towards, feel free. Stage is yours.
Well, as I say, the pleasure is all mine. Really happy to have such an esport focused guild playing our game and giving us meaningful feedback. We build for the thrill of having you guys enjoying the game, so it's definitely a good time right now. Looking forward to play against more Metaguild players in the ladder, and hopefully you'll really enjoy the rental system and have an occasion to onboard thousands of new players on our game.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Jerome. We are looking forward to this, and yes.
And thanks everyone in the chat for following this MAA. Don't hesitate if you have any questions to drop on our Discord or send direct message everywhere. Like happy to answer all the questions.
Absolutely. Cheers. Thank you, Jerome. Hope I'll see you soon. I'll be ending up this stream right here, right now. I guess everyone will have a good dinner. Here in Italy, it's about times, or in case it's later than that, have a good night. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Yeah, thank you, Jerome. Bye.